You got me?
There he is. There he is. What's going on, man? How are you, Bill?
Good morning, Bill. I'm lagging apparently.
A little bit. It's that farm life
It must
taking
be.
taking you out of it. My glasses are filthy. So what's going on,
Uh,
man? How was yesterday?
it was good. I had a good day. Um, I felt it was a long day, but like in a good way. I worked all day, but then I played all day too. So it's like I never really got to work, but I wasn't really distracted, if that makes sense. I just was. I would do something, and then I would go do something out here, and then I would get back to work, and I would go do something here, back and
Okay.
forth, pretty much all day long. So I had a full day. But when you're different spots, you have different routines. So
That's for sure.
as
That's
long as the stuff gets done,
Sorry, my glasses are clean now.
and most importantly,
Oh,
my daughter went to
good
town.
dad. Good
Yeah,
dad. That's a good
so
dad right there.
I like let's see that one,
Yeah. That's
pretty
the
on
jam
point.
right there.
And then
Ooh, very fancy. Alice isn't on that level yet, so
well, she told me last night that she was practicing on me so that she would look like an expert to her friends.
hey, good for you, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, it was fun.
Um,
I think
let's see. Yesterday was busy. I had a training session with the new closer, and it went pretty well. Talked a lot about framing and some of the psychology of sales, and nails are on fleck. That's
thanks,
funny.
man. On fleek, baby.
Is it fleck or fleek? Fleek?
Yeah, it's fleek.
Okay. God, I'm old. You're old when you start asking questions like that. Is that how
Yeah,
you
well, the
say
only
it?
reason I know is because I have a daughter that tells
That's
me.
I'm about to be cool again by proxy to kid, but she's not quite there yet. Good morning, Michelle. Good morning, Gabriel. Good morning, Lila. I always want to call her Leela for some
Yeah,
reason. Lila lasagna,
fleek for sure.
believe for sure.
So you
So
want
yeah,
to
so session with the closer was super good. I had a call with a prospect who ended up not being a fit because he has zero money, which is par for the course.
That's the
But
thing.
dude was really interested in like all the different stuff that I do, and he was like, "Man, I don't like. I would like to be like around you." And I was like, "Well, I have these two shows that allow people to, like free access to me and content and some of my thoughts and stuff like that. And you can check that stuff out for free. And then I've got a paid group starting at $100 per month. You get office hours and you get role play practice." And he was like, "Man, I can't even afford $100 right now." And I was like, "Cool, man, totally get it. Would love it if you listen to the shows. One's about productivity and one's about personality and sales. And if there's value in that, then later on, if you want to talk more, let's talk." So
That's awesome. Like I think if you don't have something like that set up, then you're doing yourself a disservice. I think it's a great way to say like, you know what, I understand. I'm glad that we vibe, but just hook up with me here instead.
yeah, and the really interesting thing is that this guy, I think, is going to be successful, right? He's in the agency space. He does chatbots, for people, but really wants to do chatbots with paid ads, so that way the chatbot runs on people who raise their hand for the ad and stuff like this. So he's trying to figure out the ad part of it, and I'm like, cool, I like that, right? Because if you get it to a chatbot, then you can get it to your CRM, and if you get it to your CRM, everything's better. So. Um, so yeah, I had a call with my funnel group, and we talked about kind of the stuff that we've been talking about of like, supposed to going the expensive route, I should go the cheap route, and change the market up a little bit, because a lot of these agency owners are really smart, right? And they're to have an impact for them on the CRM side of things. Like, I need to be like an API developer, right? And really like all of this stuff. Whereas on this call with this person yesterday, to talk about CRMs and stuff like that, because they're already using Pipedrive and wanted some help with like automations, right? So we just hopped in there and had a quick call, and like when those people see what I can really quickly do in a CRM, like they're blown away, right? And like, I love that impact. I love that light on moment of like, oh dang, it is going to be so much easier than I thought.
Right.
Lila says it's helpful to have options for people who care enough to take action, engage, but aren't ready to pay. Absolutely, right? Like there's, yeah, content is really generous in that way, right? And Ben, who's been on the show, right, and is a frequent like listener
Right.
and watcher, has talked about just by having Jake and I on in the background while he's up doing his morning routine and stuff like that, like things are starting to change for him. He's starting to think about his goals differently and like how he structures his goals and his time and stuff like that. And was like, that's awesome. Like that to me is like a gift, right? When you really figure out that you're in control of your time, and that it's all a matter of prioritization and like execution, right? To borrow the Jocko phrase, prioritize and execute. But time is this very modular thing. It doesn't have to be 8 to 5, right? If you're constantly beset and not focused from like 8 to 5, find out when you are focused, right? The thing that I'm noticing is we have this session here in the morning, and so I start off my day with like this really cool conversation, and then it's really hard to want to go do like solo work, right? So I've been doing these walks after these sessions, and I don't get to on Wednesdays because of other stuff I have going on, but it's a nice little reset. But there's still just distractions, right? Like this whole thing is a distraction. So
well, it's funny. There's these partitions that we've talked about before where like for me, like realistically, if I'm just like talking candidly, like I work really hard from 8 to 11. Like I am locked from 8 to 11 typically. And then after that, if I've hit my big 3, I just kind of do the things that I know I need to get done as my day allows them. But I'm never going like at it, from 8 to 5. Like that's never a thing for me. There's, different levels of mental stamina that people have, right? Like, so I'm a short burst guy. I'm really great in like 20-minute increments and stop for 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes and then go again for another 20 minutes. Other people can, marathon for 2 hours and work. And still have the same mental ability to put like similar output, right? But I'm more like a blazing fire. Like I burn really hot for 20 minutes, So
I think it also depends upon the kind of work you're doing.
It could, but I actually really think people have a makeup of sorts that certain personality types or something are able just to kind of be like that slow burning fire, like just all the time. But like me, and I think you're kind of the same way on some levels. Is right. I'm not ever like 25% into something, right?
Oh.
If I'm sitting down and my focus is on it, I'm like burning white hot.
Yeah.
There's not. I do put stuff on the background. Gabriel said the same thing. I feel the same way that Ben does about you guys. I do have some stuff like that where I'll put it on that it's almost like during my day, I don't listen to podcasts. I don't listen to other things. If I'm doing education or a book, I have put the other stuff aside and my full focus is on it. I have like instrumental music in the background to work to, or nature noises, something like that. So that came from kind of your comment of knowing your time and knowing what's helpful for you is one of the most powerful things you can understand about yourself from a work standpoint, because you got to put your big 3 and needs to go in that window, whatever the window is.
Yeah. So then my question becomes, can you work to increase your time, or is it just like every endurance athlete and you need to work a little bit slower so that way you can work longer?
So I can work longer. It just, it wears my wick down for the next day or for the week, right? So if I can work, we all do it. We have weeks where we're working on projects and we work way more hours than we normally would. Or than we should, maybe.
Because there's a deadline. Yeah.
Well, that's part of it for sure. But like when you get really excited about a project, you're like, oh, I can't wait to get this across the finish line. I can't wait to see the finished product. I can't wait to share with people. Those help too. So I don't know. Like I guess that's one of those things where do we always need to be striving for more or striving for better?
So
or can you do both?
I saw this thing the other day, and it said that the average human's attention span has decreased from like 12 seconds down to 8 seconds in the past, 5 or 6 years. And there's so much that wants to like grab your attention and pull you down a rabbit hole and stuff like this. So um, I think that the ability to focus is arguably the most important skill set you can build, right? And
Right.
right, and I'm wired for focus, personality speaking, but like it's still super easy, right? Social media and email and phone calls and what did Melissa need, and
Yep.
there's so much that takes you like off track that the ability to communicate well and be like, look, I'm here and I'm working, and like I need you to not come talk to me for like the next little bit is
Yeah.
really, really good. It's hard.
I think Cal Newport knew the extent to which his book would be true.
Oh, the deep
Deep
work
Work.
book.
I mean, because he wrote that book almost 10 years ago now, right? I mean, it's like,
Has it been that long?
it was like 2011, maybe 2012.
Hold on, I gotta Google
Anyway,
this.
point being, I can't imagine that he would even know today to the level, right, that would be
Hmm.
true, that deep work is the most powerful asset of any employee or your own. If you work for yourself, it's the most powerful thing you own, is the ability to deeply focus. Um, and
2000.
Karen,
Let's see. I think 2016 is when he wrote the book.
okay, all right. So it's all, not those I thought.
Yeah, power hours are great. It's about working efficiently in a certain amount of time, for sure, right? False deadlines, focusing only on the tasks. Absolutely, Karen. I mean, you're hitting the nail on the head. The tomato timers, the Pomodoro technique, the false deadlines, make every day a Thursday. Like all of this is about trying to make sure that our energy is in line with the thing that we need to do.
What's our goals? Yeah.
Yeah, like it's super crazy how much my attitude around like focus and being aware of how unfocused I can be has changed in probably the last 4 months. So
Hmm. Yeah, it's pretty bad when you start looking at it.
yeah,
Like, oh no, that's the first step for everybody. If you do that whole thing where you treat your day,
yeah,
it'll be the best work you ever do for yourself, because you'll look at it
yeah.
and go, holy crap, I suck bad.
Well,
And then you'll go, I got to change.
yeah. The thing that I like to do is write out like what I'm going to do that day, and then actually like write out what I did that day at the end of the day, and grade myself on how well I did as far as like an
Okay.
impact perspective, right? Because super easy to have an agenda for a day of like calls and meetings and all of this stuff,
Oh
but
yeah,
you get sidetracked, and then you can beat yourself up about it, right? But having a log of like, well, I didn't get these things done, but I did get this and this and this done. I was there for my team. They had some questions, and stuff like that. So you have to be really honest
right.
with yourself, right? And
Yeah.
that starts with being really regimented with yourself, I would say, right? I mean, no one wants to sit down and write out like, okay, cool, here are the things I'm going to do today. And then at the end of the day, write down the things you actually got done. It sucks because like the first handful of times it is such like a self-driven come to Jesus meeting,
Hmm.
of that, no one is as focused as you think you are. Like you're just not. Like, man, I spent so much time saying I
Yeah.
was the most focused guy and I didn't have shiny thing syndrome and all focused and everything else like this. But these things are muscles, right? And so the more you use the muscle, the more, right? I come up with probably 2 to 3 business ideas a day. You can ask Jake about it because I message him and I'm like, "Hey, is this a shiny thing?" And he says, "Yes, idiot, it's a shiny thing. Don't even look at that." So,
File that under your shiny folder.
but Jake will also tell you, like in 2010, I couldn't come up with an idea for a business to like get out of the bank.
Dude, I remember one of
Like,
the very first conversations we had. You were like, "Yeah, but like, where do you come up with an idea for a business?" And I was like,
mhm.
"Oh, you just wait. You just
Mm,
wait, man.
yeah,
You won't be able to stop it."
yeah, and it it's so funny to me because I see all these people and I do this in certain realms myself, right? So like I'm not immune, but we tell ourselves like these things that we can or can't do or can or can't be, and like most of it is just, I'm gonna get a little blue here, but bullshit, right? Because like until you really put yourself out there and really push yourself and surround yourself with an environment that is of like-minded people and with the right stimuli and stuff like that, you have no idea what you're capable of.
Yeah.
Um, like there's no idea that the 2010 me who was meeting Jake for the first time had any idea that like 2020 me would be here doing all of this stuff. So before you start telling yourself you can't do something, like go figure it out, right? But before that, like figure it out if it's really like worth your time, because there's a lot of stuff that isn't. So
It's true, and that's why I love the thing is you can do anything you want, you just can't do everything.
exactly,
That's one of
I
the
love that.
kitschy sayings that you love to say now, that you hate kitschy sayings, but now you love some.
Yeah.
Some of them you just love, and that's one of the ones I adopted early on. It's like, oh, that's stupid. Oh no, I actually really love that because I want to do everything.
All these things, yeah, all these things that I have brushed off in my teens and 20s and early 30s are now like so much more impactful to me because of the journaling and because of all the COVID stuff and being forced kind of like into some solitude, because when we're not under any of these kinds of restrictions, we autopilot all the rest part of our day, right? Like your brain wants to autopilot because it's so burdened by like everything else, right? So these times of change, right, are really impactful. So the days feel long, but part of the reason why they feel long is because all of this is different, right, than what it was. So take this time to like challenge yourself and figure out what ideas you're holding on to that might not be serving you, right? Because everybody has 3 to 5 things. Like this show is something that really has value, and I bet you guys both enjoy doing now. Oh, like I can't imagine starting a day without talking to Jake, right?
It
and
feels weird.
This BIL
on the
set.
weekends now.
Yeah, a little bit.
We're to the point now where I wake up on Saturday and I go, huh. I've actually joked. I've actually in my mind gone, I'm gonna throw it up one Saturday morning and message John and be like, where you at? And I bet he pops on maybe Saturdays. He's not thinking.
I would
I'll be right there.
I would be in a sheer panic. I would sprint into this room from the other room, unkept. Not like I'm usually kept anyway, but unkept. Yeah, Lila. Here's the deal. And I just think it's easy for entrepreneurs because, like, you start a business and you see some success, and it's like, oh, I can do this 150 times. Like, let's just go do this endlessly. And it's so funny. I got connected with a woman who runs an outsourced print copy kind of thing, right? I think it's like Speedy Copy or something like this. And we were talking, and she's big in the Fort Worth networking system, the small business area here in Fort Worth. And I got connected to her, and we were having a really great conversation. And they bought into kind of like an alpha graphics, kind of deal. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. So when do you scale that? When do you step back from the day to day and stuff like that and start something else? Because like she had a pretty good revenue number. I don't remember what it was, but she was like, I think I can do more if I stay here. And I was like, damn, okay, I love that focus, right? Yeah. Because she was like, look, how much harder is it going to be for me to step back from this and still run it at like 80 to 90% efficiency and go put time into something else that's brand new and try to get that to like 80 to 90. Instead, I'd rather just stay here and be 100% focused on this thing and take it as far as I possibly can. And, there's a lot to be said for that mindset, because it is so easy just to like bail, right, and jump ship, or you start following some new consultant coach person who's in your email and they're telling you all these things that like just become over time like the repeated messaging is brainwashed. Like this is a thing that happens. Like in the army, I got brainwashed. Like I use that in finger quotes because it's not really like brainwashing, but like it's meant to break you and build you up into like a different person than you were before. I firmly believe that business does the same thing, and so does like any kind of like regular martial art training. It changes you like at a core fundamental level. So when we're trying to do these things, it's easy to get sidetracked and suck down black holes, and like shiny things pop up because you've done it once, so you can do it again. So that ability to focus, I think is going to be like the best skill set you can develop, right? And be really honest with yourself.
Yeah, and I think when you graduate as an entrepreneur yourself, you're you're when you learn how to focus as a discipline, as something that you do every day, you graduate into what you focus on first, right? Like the first thing that changes, okay, I like this. I know what's going on today. Things are getting done. And so then you start changing your priorities. Like, oh, gosh, I need to focus more on some of this like business building stuff. Because if it works over here, it's definitely going to work gangbusters over here, right?
Hmm.
And then you kind of get to that third step of scale and the discipline. And this is the area that I think John and I are in our businesses right now, is the discipline to delegate and give away, right? Because it's the focus never changes, but when you move along the path of an entrepreneur, and you could stop at that, like when John and I could delegate a bunch of pieces of our day and just oversee the business, and then have a 20-hour work week, right? Like if we wanted to, that's something that we could do.
Right.
But that's how the lady you were talking about is, right? She's gonna delegate out the things that she doesn't need to be doing. Obviously, she's not gonna be making the signs,
Hmm.
but then the key there is what do you want, right? What do you want
Yeah,
for your business?
absolutely.
Not what should I do next. That's the beauty of entrepreneurship. You get to choose. You could go start another one if you want to, or
Hmm.
you could stick in. But what do you want your day to look like? What do you want your finances to look like?
Yeah. At the end of the day, right, and you and I have talked about this, but I don't think I've said it on here, is I would like to have 5 projects or 5 businesses that are around sales in the small business sector, helping people think about it, measure it, handle it differently. And, right now that's adapted growth, and we're working on CRM setups and finding people, salespeople, and stuff like this. But, I've got on that list of business ideas that is constantly populating, I've got a line on there, right? So anything that is sales focused goes above that line because it makes sense to do it, because of who I'm trying to be in this world. But everything that's not sales focused goes under the line, and I just kind of give that to people who are, the same idea as me in 2010. They're like, because like some people are like, I want to start something, but I have no idea what to start. Would you like 15 ideas? Because
Yeah.
I can show you 15 ideas right now, right?
Mhm.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
And this week has been kind of an odd week for me. I felt just oddly gassed, like just kind of just like going through the motions a little bit, and like it's weird. Last night when in my journaling and stuff like that, like I could feel like this kind of like lethargic of like not really wanting to journal and stuff like this. And yeah, I don't know.
Yes.
What do I
Well,
need? I need a solid win. I think is what I need. Like because like I kind of feel like things have not really been falling my way. Like I talked about the 5K deal I lost last
mhm,
week, and so
mhm,
there are weeks where you're going to feel like you're working your tail off and not really getting much done. And I feel like the past maybe 1 to 2 weeks has kind of felt like that, and it's kind of catching up, right, as a lagging indicator. So make sure that you're managing your leading indicators as far as your energy
right,
is concerned. Because
right.
I heard this podcast the other day, and this makes a lot of sense to me. Even our sleep cycles in 90 minutes, like
Mhm,
we go through these like cycles of like REM to like barely sleeping and stuff like this. And so there's this guy who wrote The Powerful Engagement, which is a great book. And he's got this thing that's called the Energy Project. And his whole thing is like, you don't manage your time, you manage your energy, right?
mhm,
And, you're talking about 20-minute sprints and stuff like this. Like I'm trying to get to the point to where I can do like 1 to 2 90-minute like deep work sessions, and then like probably 3 more like 45s, and then be done for the day. That would be awesome. But the bad thing about being a sales guy is the fact that like most of my role is requiring other people to go talk to. So carving out deep work times, while trying to keep the calendar full and trying to keep conversations moving and stuff like this is difficult because, contrary to my own belief, right, like, I'm not like an influencer, right? Like I don't have people lined up to like work with me. There's still, you got to build the trust and everything else like this. So, I'm not complaining about that. I'm not expecting to be someone that the people are lined up for. But when it comes to scheduling my week and trying to find like deep work sessions and stuff like this, it's kind of a nightmare. So I think that what I'm going to start doing is getting up earlier and doing some morning stuff before this, right? Like I don't know. I got to figure that out, and I don't really want to commit to anything live yet because
Yeah. Yeah.
I've been talking about trying to make the morning shift for like
Mhm.
a while, and it's a struggle. Like I went to bed at 11:30 last night, and slept and then I got up kind of early today, and I did some work this morning, but I need to get more work done before we do this because this takes me off track a little bit, and then it's hard to get back into wanting to work after that. So.
Yep. Yep. I can see that. Well, I know part of you working with the funnel people should allow you to do more of that because
Yeah.
if you're having to go chase so much, then you can say, okay, at least here's my 190 minutes I'm going to be doing every day,
Yeah.
and you can schedule around that.
Absolutely. What's funny is that even in that world, there's so much conflicting advice. Like I watched a webinar the other day, and this guy was talking about that if you can put together 4 hours of content that helps somebody else, people don't have a problem paying like $400 to $500 for 4 to 5 hours of content. And I'm like,
Right.
4 to 5 hours of content for like $497. Like I've got hours of content and stuff like
Yeah.
that. So,
Well,
and then
that's what we always talk about. It comes back to your audience, right?
yeah, for sure.
That beginner audience will take that 4 to 5 hours that you think is absolute. Everyone knows this content. They'll pay for it.
Yeah, that's fair. I just have to because then last night I was having a call with the funnel group, and I was kind of talking to them about this idea that you and I had about as opposed to going boutique and high end agency level with it, going the other way and just making it cool, right? So here's the 10 things you really need to set up when your CRM to start. Right here is an email automation that's going to drip out every day, so that to remind you to update this tool. And then like I could put together like a CRM habits and hygiene course in about a day, right? So go ahead. You want to shoot that down?
What's that?
I said, do you hear that?
Yeah, I do.
Alice got a new alarm clock yesterday, and she wanted to get like the most old school one possible. So it's like the big alarm clock with the bells on top. And she said,
Nice.
I want to wake up at 8 a.m. So that's her not waking up at 8 a.m. or 8:15
Right,
as the case may be. So yeah.
That's
So
good.
yeah, like what are your thoughts on that?
So I'm of the camp. I read this article like 3 years ago, and I've been on this camp ever since. I haven't been brought back to the other side yet. Maybe I will, but I don't think so. If you know who your target audience is and you know the 2 or 3 main problems that they have, and you're working with that kind of newer crowd, I don't think you have to create much content. I think you can create, 5 or 6 really strong, staple, evergreen pillar pieces. There's all sorts of names for them, but large problem-solving pieces of content that help people solve the problems that your target audience has. And you can use that as lead generators or tripwires, like people pay you a couple dollars to get involved with you, and it will work over and over and over and over. And the only thing that you have to update is like trends if things change, or you learn some new techniques, you can go back in and update the content. But then what you're doing is working on different ways to get people in front of it all the time, whether it's ads or podcasting or whatever the different things you want to do. But I don't think you need to spend lots of time on content. I think that's a lie we tell ourselves that social media has kind of brainwashed us into, as you were talking earlier about, is we have to be creating all this new content all the time. And as entrepreneurs, we're creative, so we want to create, right? And we want it to be new and fresh, and we're challenging ourselves. Doesn't matter, sorry, Gabriel. But yeah, I think that that's something that we have told ourselves that we have to do, and we enjoy doing it. We enjoy the challenge of creating new content and whatnot, but I don't think it's necessary to grow your business. And that's actually where I've fallen back to this year. Is I used to spend a lot of time posting on LinkedIn. I used to spend a lot of time posting on Instagram. I used, posting new stuff. And now I don't post a whole lot, but I interact a whole lot. And I have, I'm building these content pieces in the background as anchors or pillars And I'm working a whole lot more on getting people to them and a whole lot less on writing and creating outside of this. This is my creative content outlet right now.
Yeah.
Is this podcast, and then there's another one I've got coming up with Quirk, and then I'm on another one as a co-host. But those take very minimum time, right? So that's what I think. I think we've all been lied to by the social media platforms because they want our content.
So okay, so let me ask you this question then. I would
And one
pay
sec,
big
Gabriel
bucks.
said, I would pay big bucks to see you guys create serious problem-solving content cosplay. Just saying. So we could probably pull that off.
Oh,
So
sorry.
the question is what?
I think because you and I have talked about this, right? I think there's two ways you can do the content thing, right? You can go for volume or you can go for quality, right? And Brian Dean, a guy that we both look up to, even though I love the needle that dude because like his videos have got all the campy stuff that make YouTube videos popular, right? I was in my Speedo and all that stuff. Like he writes a lot, but they're really, really well done, long pieces, right? So like it's like he's not playing the volume game with like lots of courses and lots of blog posts and stuff like this. He's going really, really deep. So it's still there's still time involved in that though. So
Sure.
I don't know. I kind of want to push back on this idea that like content doesn't take time. I think it does take time, but you can either put your time into making mountains of it or making really good content.
Well, content takes time. I don't think I said it didn't take time. It does take time for sure. But I'm saying like what I think what's more important is promotion of the content that you spend all that time on, not cranking out new content every day, which it seems like that's what a lot of people feel like is the right thing to do is just crank out enough content over time consistently and people will finally notice me. Well, if that was the case, then promotion wouldn't be necessary and we could all just go start cranking content every day. I think that's a fantasy world. So like, yes, you absolutely have to dedicate time to good content, but like once you know the problem you're solving, go create your best version of that solve and charge for it and just keep getting people there. Like, I mean, that's to me, like if you want to make money, you have to solve more people's problems, right? That's how you make more money is get more people to solve the problem, but the solve doesn't change. So why are we trying to do all these different things that aren't that, I guess is my thought.
That's fair. I mean, that's actually a really good point. So what about people? What about people who do a daily email though? Right? You know, because like even Seth Godin does like a daily email to his list. Is that bad?
Yeah, but that thing is like 12 words.
Is it?
Like, oh yeah, Seth Godin is infamous for his like what's the word I'm looking for?
Succinct.
He's extremely succinct, but like he's one of the best writers I have ever read in being able to convey an idea in less words than everyone else. He's so good at doing that. And he's a writer. That's his profession. He writes. So of course he writes.
Interesting.
But he probably has 60,000 words sitting in a library somewhere, you know? He writes so much.
As do I.
So
I mean, like...
Right. So that would be for you. Why aren't you just reusing the content that you already have sitting in your library, in your journal, just repackaging that in a way to solve a problem and selling it, you know, instead of creating these brand new volume posts that you're doing?
Well, the value posts, honestly, are just a way to kind of stay in front of people and keep the algorithmic juices high, you know? The long story short is that, you know, I get distracted, right? The closer course, you know, that I've been working on for most of this, we'll go through fits and starts and then, you know, and stuff like this. So, you know, part of it is just distraction, but you know, like I've got like there for a while, for maybe 6 or 7 months, I had a daily KPI goal of writing at least 1,000 words. Right. Yeah. So I've got like a folder of just like of that content, you know, and Melissa, bless her heart, is having to go through it and try to make sense of it. And, you know, a lot of it is really, really rough. So she's having to go through and pull out ideas, and she'll take like seven pieces and turn it into one piece and stuff like this. So,
right.
You know, there's I don't know, I'm feeling I guess, beat down this week. A
Yeah.
little uncharged. So
Yeah. Ebbs and flows. That's how we do it, right? Geek Jake could sit and talk about how there's ebbs and flows in your own day, ebbs and flows in your own circles, ebbs and flows in your own region, ebbs and flows in
mhm.
your, like there's all these ebbs and flows going in energy, even I think, just around you, that affect you from time to time. And so what made me think of that is I've had a lot of people, a lot meaning more than two hands, right, tell me in the last 7 days that they're just not low, but like just kind of like right now, like it's just this kind of like I'm sitting here outside. It's gorgeous, beautiful, but it's all dark and cloudy and humid and things like that, and that affects energy.
Yeah.
Because so that's why we have this one, right? That's why we have leading indicators. It's why we sit down every morning together and go, all right, what are we doing today?
For sure, absolutely. But man, I think it's important, since we're doing this daily, to not sugarcoat all of this stuff, right? Because one of my biggest pet peeves, and we've talked about this, right, is that it's really easy to talk about when you were weak or when you made mistakes and stuff like this, like after the fact, right? Because now there's distance behind it. But I think that we should be focused on like reaching out like in that moment when we're struggling, right? And I'm the first to admit that I'm not the best at this, right? Like there's some areas I'm okay, like reaching out and asking for help, and then asking for help, and then there are other areas where I'm not at all, and it's a struggle, right? Because there's just a lot to juggle, right? So when you're an entrepreneur, it's going to be lonely at times and stuff like this. So you need people like Jake on my screen, and other key people in your network that you can reach out to and ask questions and get help and make sure that you're not telling yourself stories. All this stuff is super important. No one person should be an island, right? Go find some help. You don't have to go figure it out all over again. There's been lots of people that have done this in the past.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, go join my accountability group. That's what it's for.
Exactly.
If you want people to bounce ideas off that aren't going to make fun of you and they're going to genuinely help you out, that's what it's there for. So
I had this epiphany the other day of, I've been wanting to put together like one page that I can send everybody to that's got stuff about my various projects, right? So that way, if I'm on a podcast, it's not like, well, check me out on Sales Throwdown, and I've got Morning Bill, and I've got John Small Mountain, and my company's Adaptive Growth. Ugh, nobody takes any action. So Small Mountain, yeah, that's what it's going to be. So I've been looking at all these different tools to make like really easy, just kind of like link pages and about pages and stuff. And you shared with me Tap on Mic and stuff. And then I was just like, I've got tools that can do this already. I don't need another tool to go do this thing. And so I reached out to my team and was like, hey, look, here's what I want. White page, very, very easy. I want it to be like a landing page, so no navigation and no footer. And I want just like a little blurb at the top that we'll write. And then I just want links to all the projects with the socials on them, right? And the direct email link, to like sign up for it as well. And he's going to make it, and it's done. So the lesson here is there's so much software. There is literally a piece of software for anything you can think about doing. Don't get caught up in the idea that you need that software to make your business run, because there's always another way around it. Because like I was about to pay, I think, $91 for this tool that does a good job of like doing this kind of thing. But I have a website. I've got people on my team who do web stuff. I've done web stuff in the past. Like, why am I looking for another bill? You know what I'm saying? Just because it was going to be a little bit easier. It doesn't really make any sense. So just be aware that little things that don't seem like very expensive, like, Pipedrive is one of my favorite tools, and I can't wait to like show it to everybody and help them get set up on it. It's $30 a month, right? That's $360 a year. That's not nothing, right? But these monthly subscriptions look really appealing on the front end because that's nothing. You know what I'm saying? So even $7 a month, which is like one of these tools, right? So I mean, Calendly is $12 a month, I think, for the paid version, and that's affordable. Like, that's really affordable. There's Acuity and Schedule Once, which are, in my opinion, like gougy, outrageously priced, super expensive options. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm sure they have a fit, or else they wouldn't still be around. But I don't know
Yeah.
why anybody pays the premium for that stuff. But
Yeah.
there's always other ways of getting stuff done. You don't necessarily have to go buy a monthly subscription for something. So that's my lesson for this week.
Yeah, it becomes what tools will help you do more of the things that make you money.
Yes.
If it doesn't do that, then you should consider not paying for it.
Exactly. So we're going to have a page on John Small Mountain that's going to be called, Connect or Info, or what I might just put it as is ill, because I used to tell people that I'm the guy who put ill and hill, which I think would be really funny. So johnsmallmountain.com/ill, and it's just, all my stuff. I think that would be hilarious.
Love it.
So, yeah, I don't know.
It fits with your John Awesome Hill avatar.
What's that?
It fits with your John Awesome Hill avatar.
Absolutely. I haven't used that avatar in a while. That's been a hot minute. But yeah, so, there's lots of tools out there. You probably don't need it. There's probably another way that might require more work on the front end, but keep your costs as low as possible, guys. Like, good Lord.
Yeah.
I've not done the best job of this historically, and I'm trying to really tighten the reins on myself, because it's so easy to spend money. So just be aware. Any piece of software that says it's going to revolutionize your business is probably not going to revolutionize your business. And the software is only as good and as strong as the person who is running the software. So if you don't have good habits, your CRM is a cost without a benefit. If you don't log into Buffer to put those posts in there so that when they go out on social media, that's a cost without a benefit. You don't need a better buffer. You need better habits, right? Same thing with your CRM. Like I feel like software is almost being marketed as like the universal answer for everything, and it's not. Yeah. It's not. There's still gaps. Go ahead.
There's just articles and articles on that out there that software will not save your business.
It won't, right? I mean, and Jake has been saying this pretty consistently on the show, and I love it. Software is for scale, right, and saving time. But if you're trying to run software to do something you've never been able to do effectively on your own, you're probably not going to be successful. It's probably going to be a struggle. So.
Yep, and I think we should end on that statement you made, is that you don't need new software, you need new habits.
You need new habits, and you need accountability. So go get in Jake's accountability group and build some really good habits. And then after that, come talk to me, and I will hook you up with a CRM with the stuff you need on it, and not sell you anything more than you absolutely need to get started and start building good habits and everything else.
Yep, I second that.
Rock on, bro.
Cool, man. Well, hump day. Let's do it.
Hump day, man. Wednesdays are my long day, so I've got all my normal stuff, and then I've got 3 calls, and I needed to do a session with the closer again today, so I need to get that on the books. I thought I had that on the books. I'm not really sure why it's not there, but we'll get it figured out.
Sweet.
Cool, man.
All right, Bill.
All right, Bill. I'll see you in the morning, man. Hey, tomorrow's Thursday.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tomorrow's Thursday. We got to get some shit done tomorrow. Or I do, anyway. Yeah, tomorrow I got to get some stuff done.
That's right. Today we'll just do Wednesday.
Yep. Two course content pieces is what I need to get done today and tomorrow to be good for the BIL bet. So.
Sounds good. Right, well, I'm on track. So
are you coming home today? Or are you staying out there?
I am. I'm actually getting ready to leave here about an hour. Okay,
cool, man. All right. So tomorrow, the usual Jake background.
That's right. I may green screen it tomorrow. We'll see what happens.
Awesome. All right, man. I'll see you in the